So why do so many creators start a second channel? Well, some of you might have some ideas, and many of them are probably right. Some of them might be part of the puzzle, and some of them might just be flat out wrong. So let's dive in. If this is your first time seeing me somehow, hello, I'm Shannon Makes, and this is the first video of my second channel because I have an entire main channel. You can find it in the description. I do crafting, I renovate houses, and I've been a YouTuber for 4 years, and I have many thoughts on the experience. So the very first thing we want to touch on is why on earth do I have a second channel? Because I have made it pretty clear that I will not be forced down into one type of video on my channel, and yet here I am with a second channel. So in my personal opinion, there are kind of three main reasons, three parts to the puzzle for why creators start a second channel. One reason, and I think this is one that a lot of creators are actually willing to talk about, is this concept of niching down. Niche down to blow up. That was like the big catchphrase if you were looking to start a YouTube channel, maybe, I don't know, 4 to 6 years ago. Everyone was telling you the way to succeed is to niche down. Now, what does that mean? That basically means focus your channel on one topic. So that way, when viewers find your first video, they stumble across it in the wild, they find it, they love it, they then go to your channel and find more videos on the similar topic. And there are obviously many reasons why if a viewer finds one of your videos and then goes on to look at a ton more videos in your catalog because they're all on similar topics, that viewer, if they're interested in the first topic, is going to be logically interested in all the other videos on that topic. Like, it just makes sense in a way. So everyone was told, niche down, find one topic that you're passionate about, that you're interested in, and stick to that, and don't ever do anything else on your channel, which honestly feels like a recipe for burnout, if I'm being quite honest. And that is why I refuse to do it. I think I've managed to shirk that mantle, and I do feel that there are some other creators out there that have also successfully managed to do so, but I will say it is definitely much harder to grow your channel that way. It is much slower growth because I cannot tell you the number of times I've had a video take off, it explodes, it does super well in the algorithm, but then I don't actually see much channel growth from it because I have such varied content on my channel. So that viewer might find the video, let's take for example my sewing table IKEA build. That one hit a massive spike several months after I put it out. It got hundreds of thousands of views all of a sudden last spring, but then not that many of those viewers stuck around to watch the other videos on my channel because for the most part, I'm not a woodworking channel. I don't do a lot of hard good builds. I mostly do soft goods. Now there are obviously some exceptions, but a lot of the videos that they would have found on my channel were sewing videos. So not that many people stuck around. I realized that I went a bit off into the weeds on this one and maybe didn't thoroughly connect the dots on this point. So let me circle back around and say that in summary, a lot of creators start different channels because they themselves have varied interests and they've decided for whatever reason to keep those interests separate. Separate audiences equals separate channels. The second reason I think that a lot of creators start a second channel, and again, this is another one that I think creators are actually comfortable talking about and are quite vocal about sometimes, is the pressure. The bigger your channel gets and the better and better your videos get, the more pressure there can sometimes be to continue making videos at that level, to sustain always this very quality, polished look to all of your videos. And that pressure can be self-imposed, like in my case, can also sometimes be external. Oftentimes, if you are very sensitive to the comments, those can really get to you too. I'm quite lucky that I can just basically ignore all the negativity in the comments, and I feel like my bar for quality is already exceedingly high. So if I meet my own standards, That is more than enough for me. But you do definitely see a lot of creators talking about this pressure. They kind of, a lot of us start our channels very informally, sitting down in front of a camera one-on-one and being casual and never scripted and completely winging it, and, slightly less time in the editing room. But then as the channel grew and as our skills got better and we polished things, you keep raising the bar, and then it feels really hard to bring that bar back down. But it is so nice sometimes just to sit down with the camera and not worry about everything being worded perfectly and being edited down to within a millimeter of its life, for viewers' attention spans, making sure that your attention doesn't stray. So, second channel is a little bit easier and a little bit more casual. And this is something that I have up until now reserved entirely for my patrons on my Patreon page, because that is where I put my casual content. They get the off the cuff and the monthly vlogs and all the bonus material that I didn't feel was worth leaving in the main video, or that I couldn't for people's attention spans, or maybe it was just too niche, too specific. So that's been up until now going on my patron page. But I will say I have some things coming up that it didn't feel quite right to put on the main page. For example, my community fabric unboxing material. If you're new here, really quick rundown. Several months back, I had a video that went viral, and in that video, I asked for people to mail in their fabric scraps so that I could make a patchwork project. And the response was stunning. It was overwhelming. I got so much stuff. And now I want to sit down and go through it. And I have actually already sat down and gone through some of it. And I have all this footage of it. But I would never include that in a main channel video, because the number of you who would watch that is pretty small. A lot of people don't have patience. They don't want to sit through that. They want maybe just the very quick, highly edited highlights reel. So normally I would take the raw footage or the somewhat edited footage, but the still quite long version of that video, and I would put it on my Patreon page for all of my patrons to watch. However, in this case, that doesn't really feel appropriate, because a lot of people, a lot of you spent time to go through your fabric stash and pick out all the fabrics that you didn't want or that you thought I would really enjoy. A lot of you wrote lovely, meaningful, touching letters to me and threw in some notions, or some of you threw in books and amazing other things. And then you took more time to go to the post office. You spent money to send that to me. I got packages from all over the world, from Denmark and Germany and Japan, and it was wild. And so to put all of that content behind a paywall doesn't feel appropriate. So that was the first thing that made me start thinking that I might want a second channel. And some of you might be wondering right now, but why can't you just put it out on the main channel, make it a separate video, and if people decide not to watch, it's fine. And that brings us to the third reason that people start a second channel, and the one that I think that a lot of people are very reluctant to talk about, and that is money. Capitalism, baby, because one way that we as YouTubers make money is through brand deals and sponsorships. If you watch my public videos over on my main channel, you will know that I do brand deals somewhat regularly. They're a frequent occurrence over there, and if you are unfamiliar with that, it might be because you're a patron, and I generally cut those out for you. But when you are negotiating with these brand deals, like, you're looking at the brand and you're considering if they're a good fit for your channel. Ideally, you're vetting them to make sure that they're a good brand, but they're also assessing your channel, and not only if they want to work with you, but also how much you're worth to them. It is business, and right now, like, I know if I put out a video on my channel, it's going to get a minimum of 30,000 views in the first month, which is kind of what brands look at. They don't really care past the first month. They want to know, how many views am I going to get in that first month? And I know my certain videos can get more, they often do, but my like bare minimum baseline, 30,000 views. And that's pretty consistent because I know what's going to work on my channel and because I make smart decisions based on how well I know videos are going to do on my channel. And I only put out videos that I know are going to do well. I am very rarely surprised by a video bombing these days. And that's because I do have a pretty good grip on what video topics are not only interesting to me, but also of a good value and interesting to you, because that is a part of the equation. I think sometimes YouTubers can get a little bit in their head and up on their high horse, and you know, there's some ego involved about, oh, the algorithm hates me, it doesn't like me, it's shadow banning me. But if we're realistic, honestly, just replace algorithm with audience. Your audience does not find value in your content. A lot of times that's the case because I could make stuff that I'm interested in all day, but it also needs to be interesting and worth your time. And because of that, I won't put out videos that I know will bomb. If I put that fabric unboxing video on the channel, there might be some of you that are listening to this and are like, that sounds amazing to me. I would love to have a 2-hour fabric unboxing video playing while I am cleaning or cooking or crafting or whatever it is. And that is completely valid. But out of the 100,000 subscribers I have on my channel and the 30 to 50,000 of you that watch my videos on a regular basis, there's a very small percentage of you that would actually be interested in that video. So if you are looking for that video, it will probably be on the second channel, but also you're a little bit of an outlier. And that's fine. We love outliers on this channel. So I'm guessing it would get maybe 5,000 to 10,000 views if I would put it on my main channel. Now, what does that do to my channel? What does that do in terms of brand deals? Well, I mean, I went from being a sure thing in their eyes to being much more of a risk, because they're gonna suddenly look at my channel and see, oh, all of her videos do quite well. They get, 30 to 40,000 views, except for that one, which somehow only got 5,000 views. I'm gonna use that to offer her less money for our sponsorship. And that's only if I do one video that bombs. If I suddenly start putting out everything I want, and maybe I put out a video that's not a sure deal every month, then all of a sudden they're looking at the body of my work and it's not one video out of the last 10 that's bombed, it's 3 or 4 videos that do much lower, and they are going to price their sponsorships accordingly. And you might be looking at that and thinking, but that's not fair. Can't you just tell them, if you know which videos are going to do well, can't you just tell them you're going to put their brand deal, their sponsorship on a video that does well? I'm sure that brands hear that all the time, and I'm sure that it comes from creators that don't actually have as good a handle on which videos are actually going to do well and which ones aren't. I am in my comment section interacting with you all the time on a very regular basis, and I have a pretty good feel for your interests, your passions, what you want to see, but not all creators do. So I'm editing this and realizing just how incredibly inflated and egotistical I am sounding. So I just wanted to really quick rewind and say that the only reason I'm at this point where I'm feeling pretty confident about my channel and my videos and my views is only because I've made so many mistakes in the past 4 years. I've made pretty much every one in the book. I've learned a lot of things the hard way. I have certainly at moments played my cards poorly, and the channel has absolutely suffered because of it. So while I feel confident and knowledgeable now, that is only through a lot of learning and experience and a ton of mistakes. It probably also doesn't hurt that I do have years and years of experience of selling myself and my act to promoters and directors as, my actual full-time job. It definitely has contributed to a certain level of business acumen, but take my word, it was not always smooth sailing. I think we have to remember that these brands are working with dozens and dozens of influencers and creators, and not everybody has good business sense. And not everybody has such a good handle on what will do well on their channel. There's a lot of people out there that never touch their comment section, that don't ever interact with their viewers. They might not even have their faces on their channel, so there's absolutely no connection or loyalty necessarily between the creator and the people, you on the other side of the screen. So many things to consider as a brand deal. But also what I think it comes down to is look at it almost like, you know, any other job that's hiring. If you are presented with one creator who consistently, without question, gets 30 to 35,000 views on her videos, and another creator whose views are going like this, it's pretty simple. You're just gonna take the easy decision and go with the surefire choice. So for that reason, I am quite discretionary with which videos I put out onto my channel, because if I put out a video that does poorly, I will be shooting myself in the foot in terms of brand deals. And that is just being purely honest, and it's not even their fault. These brand deals need to be mutually beneficial to everyone involved. It's a two-way street. Actually, it's a three-way street, and I think that a lot of people completely forget about the third street. So if we want to break it down, these brand deals, this is going to be a little bit of a tangent, but I think it could be interesting to you. These brand deals need to be, first of all, beneficial to the creator. I need to be paid fairly for my time and for the reputation that I am throwing behind these brands by presenting them to you. It also needs to be beneficial to the brands. They are paying me a certain amount. They need to be getting a good ad, and they need to be getting some return on that. I need to be bringing in sales to them. That's literally what they're paying me for. I feel like a lot of creators do not want to come out there and be that blunt about it, but this is what it comes down to. Then there is the third street that I think both creators and sometimes brands forget about, and that is you, the viewer. It also needs to be beneficial to the people watching my brand deals, because here's the thing, like if I'm doing a fantastic job promoting something that is of interest to nobody watching, doesn't matter how good my ad is, it's completely the wrong target audience. And I feel like creators forget about that all the time, and it's just so interesting to me. So for me, when I take a look at which brands are coming to me, not only am I making sure that they are reputable, that they're not involved in any scandals, but I'm also considering, is this going to bring value to at least a significant subset or portion of my viewers? Because here's the thing, I am totally willing to represent a brand and present them to you for consideration if I personally won't use the product, but I feel like a large percentage of you would benefit or would enjoy it. Like, if we're gonna be completely honest, I don't think I would pay for a Craftsy sponsorship because I already know a lot of the skills that they're presenting. I don't mind digging around YouTube to find the free information, and also because I do enjoy learning just haphazardly. I don't need the organization of a platform where everything is all in one spot and there is a teacher presenting this information to me in a logical and well thought out manner. Also, because I just don't have time, I am renovating an entire house. But I do think that Craftsy can honestly and completely legitimately be very, very useful to a lot of people on my main channel, and also potentially a lot of you, because you're probably the same audience if I'm being honest. So that's why I continue to take deals with them, and I have literally heard feedback from you that many of you have signed up for this and you are using it and you are enjoying it. So I might not personally sign up for the service, but I do feel like it is useful to you. And so that is kind of exactly the perfect trifecta. I feel like I got paid a fair rate to present Craftsy to you. Craftsy got a lot of people signing up for their service, so they feel like the money that they paid me was worth it because they saw a return on their investment, and you got a service that many of you found interesting and useful and are currently using and enjoying. So it's like a win-win-win. I think we need to not forget the third street, which is you, the viewer. But if we want to come back to the main topic at hand, brands want to know that what you're putting out, what I'm putting out, is going to get a good return for them. And it is definitely far more complicated than purely how many views I get on a video. There are so many other things at hand. There's how convincing am I in my presentation? Do I make a good argument for this brand? But also, I think it's really, really key that it needs to line up with the interest of my viewers. But the thing is, that's too complicated, especially if this is your first interaction with a brand as a creator. They've never done a deal with you. They don't necessarily know how convincing you are at selling things or how well you know your audience. The only thing they have in front of them are your numbers. How many views do you get? And sometimes some very, very basic overall view on what your audience's demographics are. So I have all these videos in my head that would be interesting to a certain subset of you, but not to enough of you for me to put it on my main channel. So what does that leave me to do with these videos? Up until now, I have trashed them. I've literally just trashed them. I don't do them. I don't film them, or some of them I started to film and then abandoned them because realized that they just wouldn't do well on my channel. But I do think that there are some that would be of interest to various different subsets of the Shannon Makes fans. Maybe you're really into crafting, and in that case, the fabric unboxing and the unedited or longer versions of certain videos would be of interest to you. Or maybe you're really nerdy into house renovations, so if Phil and I take a deep dive on something that's just never gonna make the cut for a main video, could be useful to have somewhere to put it, somewhere that's a lot lower stress, where I can be a little bit more casual and where I don't have to worry about ruining the business that I spent years building up on my main channel. And that's just late stage capitalism for you, baby. So now that you understand why certain people create second channels and why I am creating a second channel, what are my plans for this second channel? It is gonna be even more eclectic than the main channel, and I do dearly hope that you subscribe, but I also don't necessarily expect you to watch every single video that puts out on the channel. And actually, I should clarify that I would really love it if you would take that extra 2 seconds out of your day to click on the subscribe button. I know that's really not as much of a thing these days, but it is quite important in this case because YouTube has certain requirements that they want creators to meet before they will share the ad revenue with us. Like, they're still gonna make you, the viewer, sit through a bunch of ads in order to watch my videos, but they're not going to be sharing the profit from those ads with me until I hit at least 1,000 subscribers and then several thousand watch hours. So if you'd like to support me and the channel, help me earn a little bit more money for the house renovations, a completely free and hopefully enjoyable way for you to do that is to click on the subscribe button, and then also, especially in the early days of the channel, to watch anything and everything here that is of interest to you. More than the main channel, I do suspect that this is going to be a channel where every viewer kind of cherry picks the ones that are very interesting to them, and that's totally fine. It's also totally fine on the main channel, but over there it's a lot more curated, so I do think more people are gonna tend to watch all the videos. Over here, it's gonna be hyper eclectic. We're gonna have some random things like this where it's just a brutally honest look behind the scenes at certain things going on in YouTube. I would love to do a couple commenter roasts because it is kind of funny to me. I think a lot of you don't actually fully understand to what extent I get nasty garbage comments. I do obviously mention them sometimes on the main channel videos, but I have seen a lot of evidence in the comments. People are like, I don't think they're that mean. Where are these mean comments? I'm not seeing them. Oh boy, I have an entire folder saved of the absolute worst ones. There are users whose literal sole purpose of existing in my comment section is to be nasty and criticize me. So I thought it would be really fun to do some commenter roasts. There's also going to be some just really fun deep dives. It's just going to be a place to have a little bit more fun, be a little bit more casual, a little bit more flippant. This is also going to be a great place for me to throw up my compilation videos, so you will start seeing comp videos over here, mainly because these really long compilations actually attract an entirely different audience than the main ones. These are people that are sometimes just trying to fall asleep and want some background noise. It's mainly people who want background noise, whether that's to sleep or to do chores, or for some of you it's going to be crafting. So I will be putting long compilations, multiple compilations up here on the channel, and I would absolutely love if you would take the time to watch some of them, even if it's like I said, playing in the background while you do other things. Let me be your body double. I've already put in so much time and effort on these videos. It would be great if they can, you know, do a little more work for me. So having them playing in the background, if you're just wanting somebody to keep you company while you cook or clean or do household chores or procrastinate on your homework or do some crafting, unpack. I know a lot of you are in the process of moving or have just moved or will be moving. So if you're packing or unpacking, I can be your best friend. Throw on some of those compilation videos. Let me know your thoughts on this brutally honest take on second channels down in the comment section. Anyway, that is going to be it for me now, because I have myself some chores that I need to get to.